We're not really doing Zoom this year. Used to start out with, unless we're forced to, but we are going to record the meetings, and then we'll try to get it on the website in the members only area until we run out of room, and then it'll have to be removed to make room for a next one. So I will let everybody know when it is on the website. Over the summer, we've been experimenting with Google Groups. We're going to try to use that for communication. When you sign up and we get your email properly entered into Google Groups, you will start getting messages through the CCCC Champaign Camera Club at googlegroups.com. You may have to look for it. Google puts it in the Forums tab, and other programs I've heard put it in spam or even trash. So you may have to kind of keep an eye out in some of the other unusual folders, and then you can whitelist it. We can use this as a means of communication. If any member can post to it, all they have to do in the is just type in the Google Groups address, just like you would, any other email address, and everyone in the group will see it. One of the reasons we did this was for privacy. Unless you want your email shown to everyone, the other members will not see your email. So we're going to try that this year, and I think it's a good opportunity for people to ask questions and network with each other, and maybe even get together for some informal get-togethers, or hey, let's go out to Allerton Park and shoot, or hey, let's go over to Busey Woods, or hey, there's an event coming up. I can see all kinds of possibilities how we can use Google Groups to engage with each other and learn from each other and become more productive photographers. So anyway, I think we should go ahead and get the meeting started. When your images come up, if you don't mind, you could stand up, make sure you talk loud, or you can even come stand up here by the table and talk about your images. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and get started.
Okay, this is actually one of Al's old award-winning photos that just happened to be on the computer.
I guess that's why Martha's talking about.
That wasn't what I said. Did a plan,
So if you'd like to start by telling us about this one, your other ones come right after it.
Well, obviously that's Allerton House, and I don't even remember, I think that was last spring. I could tell by the irises that are blooming. And I've taken so many shots of this same scene. I'm always trying to get the calm water and the clouds. Only rarely does that actually happen. So I was pretty happy with this one.
Yeah, it's a great picture.
Okay, so I spent the first 2 weeks of August up in Michigan, and our cottage is just up here at the tree line. So this is what it looks like pretty much every day when we go down to the beach. The name of the town that's closest by is Pentwater, and those two lighthouses there are the entrance of Pentwater River out to Lake Michigan. We go next. And here's my family. Obviously, you can tell somebody likes to get in the water and the sand. Next.
Oh, next, I'm sorry.
And so that's what it's like. This is Finn, our oldest. He's 10. He loves to get in the big waves. He just loves to get out there and swim.
Surfing.
He's surfing, that's right. Go ahead. And occasionally we get some crazy aircraft going by. This looks, I don't know, this looks like maybe a kit of some kind. But what I found interesting is if you look closely at the pilot, he's holding his phone, and I think he's taking a video as he goes along the beach. Next. And then, of course, we get some wildlife walking by every once in a while. This was just right outside the cottage. And then this was out at Allerton. Steve was there at the same time, just taking pictures in the garden there. And I slapped on the macro and stood around and tried to get close to some bees. That was kind of fun. I could get lost doing that. And I think there might be one more. Yeah, okay, and then this is a pair of juvenile eagles, and this was just shot down in Savoy, only a few miles away. So they had a nest just 100 yards or so away from this tree, and they're getting to the point now where they can fly, and so you can tell I was just shooting over the corn from Old Church Road in Savoy.
Is it a residential neighborhood or?
Behind me, yes, there's a cornfield in front of me, but right behind me is houses, and behind those houses is the Savoy Golf Course, orange course for the U-Bahn. So it's, yeah, it's pretty, I mean, there's a lot of cars going by, but this is greatly cropped, so they're probably 300 yards away.
Any other questions for Al?
So that's it. That's how I spent my summer. I'm going back to Michigan tomorrow.
Okay, Jim, actually, you're next.
All right. I haven't done much bird photography, and this, I think it was in May, Ray Silva took us over to Meadowbrook Park and gave some tips on how to highlight the bird and expose it so that you won't get the background off. And, so these two were in flight, and I was able to snap it right at the time they were going after each other with them next. And also, at the same time, I mean, Meadowbrook Park, when I've been over there before, I've just walked through it. I haven't looked for birds, I haven't seen birds. You hear them, but when you go there to look for birds and to photograph them, it really is something, because they're there. You just have to keep your eyes open. And so this one was right above us, flying in the sky. And you said the two the dads. But yeah, I was impressed that with a few tricks, and I think we even had that on our website, your talk about some of the elements that are helpful to take bird photography. So if you didn't attend that walk, you might look at our website. And then for the 4th of July, we were debating whether to stay home or to go out. We decided to go up to Door County, Wisconsin, which is not too far. They have a lot of nice things to photograph there. They have kind of a fair amount of music and theater, and but there's this gallery. It's called Rosewood Orchard Gallery, and it's an indoor art museum. But they also have 72 outdoor sculptures, and so these are some of the sculptures that I photographed while I was there. Next. And these are in like the woods, but they're all along a nice little path, so it's a nice walk. Next.
Jim, what town are they near?
It's close to Egg Harbor.
Oh, okay.
So there's a Peninsular Players Theater there,
Yeah.
and it's kind of across the street,
Okay.
about 2 blocks from there. And this is a state park in Door County called Cove Park. They have a state park and a county park right next to each other, and this county park is free, the state park you have to pay to get in, but this is the water from Lake Michigan comes up there, and of course the roots are quite gnarled, and then I decided to put this into a black and white program to see how it looked, and I thought it looked a little better. So
So did the lake water come right up to the trees? Under the trees?
this is the water's right here, and so it splashes up here. We're about maybe 10 feet above the water level, but with the waves, the water does come up that high. Another sculpture there at Rosewood Galleries, Orchard Galleries.
Anything else? All right, thank you, Jim.
Thank you.
Next we have Kim.
So I didn't go anywhere except to my backyard. And if I waited long enough, this guy actually got close enough to take a picture. I think that's a wren of some sort. Is that right? So, and it's fun. It was really fun to watch because they just go everywhere. I mean, he's just moving around, and then he'd stop and he'd chatter. It was difficult to take a picture of, but he was fun to watch too. So, yeah, after Jim was talking about the outing, the bird outing that Ray did after that, I kind of took the summer to kind of practice a little bit about what we learned. So, same backyard, same time. Yeah, and it's right. You know, it's like you said, it's like you don't really you hear them, but I sit down and I actually sit there for several hours and just waited, and they just kind of come to me, which was a lot easier than trying to get a picture of them with my 400. So this one was just right close to the tree next to where I was sitting. So, and then I was taking, I went from birds to flowers. So this was also in my backyard. This was actually at Heron Park, Danville. I think that's an egret.
Yeah, great egret.
Yeah, there was a lot of them. We saw, I think this was when I went out. Yeah, and we saw the swans too.
I was gonna say, was the Swan
Yeah.
family there?
They were out too, but it was too far away for us to get in, but
Well, one year they conveniently built their nest about 12 feet from the thing we go out on. That was nice of them.
yeah, that was.
Which park is that, Kim?
Heron,
Heron
Pond. It's Heron Pond.
Oh, it is there, okay.
Yeah, so that's where, the boardwalk,
Oh.
boardwalk's at. So, it's way out there. I zoomed in quite a bit. And this is also Heron Pond too. And this was, oh yeah, so there's St. Joseph Wetlands. I don't know if you guys
Yeah.
heard of them. Yeah, they're on 150 or.
Yeah, right there on 50.
So yeah, there was like an event going on that day. I just kind of last minute decided to go, and we got to walk around in the wetlands, and it was mostly a tour of the plants and the different, but I did see this one. And
What is he?
he's a female blackbird, is that right?
Female red-winged blackbird.
Yeah, which is really weird because it's like I see no red.
Yeah.
He doesn't look at all like the man.
No, it
She-
doesn't. It's one,
She
yeah.
doesn't.
Yeah. It's probably one of the most misidentified birds in herding.
Well, it kind of resembles Savannah, Savannah sparrow possibly, but, the streaking is too much there, so.
So yeah, that was education.
But it's got the yellow supercilium and whatever, so.
Oh, dragonfly. Yeah, this was Heron Pond too when we were out. This was across the road.
What type of,
Dragonfly? I looked it up, I don't remember now, but it was,
Did you use a macro lens or?
no, I didn't, I just zoomed in on him. He was like right there, we were going, remember, I don't know if you remember, we were walking along, it was you and Paul and I, that's right.
And that's what had all those ants.
Yeah, the anthills. Yeah, and he just flew right next to me, so he was really close to me. But yeah, I thought he was really pretty, the blue and the black.
Okay. Any other questions for Kim? Okay, this is my group next, right here, but wires.
Martha, don't stand there, maybe. Okay,
I have to stand here. Okay.
I know.
Okay, you can push it up.
Have it,
push the button.
Okay,
So, push the button.
all right.
This is not my house.
Resembles it.
But sometimes my house feels like this, lots of weeds in my garden, and lots of vines trying to grow around, you have to take down. But we found this on the road between Marshall and Charleston. Nobody went there or anything, so there's some cows next. Oh, and I always want to go out and take a picture of corn, nice and close. And this year I got an opportunity, there's my picture. I always love those pictures that are just so abstract with the corn leaves. Okay. And I often want to take a picture of this water tower too, and it turned out to be a nice stormy day. So I could get a beautiful picture, and it's actually through the windshield of the car, which almost never turns out.
Right.
So I had to show it to all of you. Okay. And this is from a trip. Mary took us over with Andy to see Funk Grove. And this was near a little shop where they sell maple syrup in the park. And it was just a really nice place to kind of stop. It was a pretty hot day, but in this particular area there was shade, and it was just real nice. We could park there for a while and go in the shop and see it. And I was especially attracted to the colors, because the colors of the barn quilt appeared in the chairs. But it is kind of time of COVID because there's nobody there. I don't know. So that's that. Next. And my friend in Toledo always has beautiful daylilies. And she's always saying, come over and take a picture of my lilies. So I did. And I was really impressed by the color of this one. It is so, I don't know, bright. But I like it a lot. Next. And then I came up to see the sunflowers and saw this lady with her little kid and tell her what to do. So that's one of my son's pictures. And I won't bore you with too many, but there's one more. I decided to take one in black and white. And that's what I came up with. I'm not overly impressed, but not too bad. Might print good, I don't know. Needs a little more black. But it was fun. I gotta shoot one in black and white. It's too tempting to shoot all those yellow sunflowers in color. But that's the story. And now, let's see who we have. Mary. You're next. Oh, did you have any questions for me? So Mary's coming.
Well, if you haven't seen enough sunflowers yet, our first field trip of the spring was to Allerton to the peonies, and we were trying out this little crystal ball here that I bought. Andrea had one out in Utah, and I thought, how neat! So this is, anyway, maybe Ray knows, from the Dakota Roamers. Or anyway, so I thought this peonies looked like eyeballs. So I made a card that says, here's looking at you, kid.
I wondered, Mary, if you took those two flowers through that ball.
No.
You just took took a picture of the ball.
Yeah, but I did get some neat effects through the balls, so, and the balls, as you can see, sits on these tripods, so. So there were 4 of us attacking them. And on the other side from the peonies are all the irises blooming. So I was playing with vignetting and next. And besides photographing, I was taking Tai Chi at Meadowbrook Park. And this guy here is our teacher, and he's a computer person from the university, but on his spare time he teaches Tai Chi at Urbana Park District and outside during the summer. So, next. This is Martha and John and me, and the sunflowers. Next. This is just a shot when they were in full bloom. Next. Closer up. Next. I call this one Spiky. They were all different shapes, but he looked sort of spiky to me. Okay, next.
Next we have, this is Rita.
Yeah, yes. This is my first live meeting with the group. Hopefully one of these days we'll see each other's faces. But you have amazing photographers in this group, and I really have a lot to learn. So I wanted to preface my comments by saying that feel free to offer any constructive criticism, because I really would appreciate it. You know, just, you know, not at your level, but anyway. So we went to Chicago. We didn't do much like everyone else this summer, but we did go to see some friends. So I just shot this photo. We were on a river walk, and you know, feel free to say anything, or, you know, if I could do better, feel free to say anything. But anyway, you can go on to the next one.
Rita, did you take that from a bridge?
No, I didn't. That was,
Yeah, I was just trying to envision.
yeah. So you can go to the next one.
Next.
I'm trying to learn children's photography. So we have 3 young grandchildren under 3 and a half, 2 and a half, and 1. And so she stopped, which is unusual. She's always on the go, Gigi. So I just thought it was cute because she had the red lips from the popsicle. And so
I like the perspective. I mean, you, instead of just straight on, you kind of angled up, which I like that.
yeah, and I like the, you know, the branches coming through. But you have to be so quick with kids. I've learned.
Oh, yeah.
That my reflex is a little slow. But anyway, that's Gigi. So the next one.
I kind of wonder what took her attention away from the popsicle.
Yeah, I think we had some. I think she was exhausted. She had been on a trampoline, and also we had some family members there from Chicago that we had not seen for a couple years, and I think she was maybe escaping from all the having a little silence, a little quiet time from all the excitement. But yeah, she was focused when done. I think directing this though.
And you caught the eye, so that's the important thing.
The eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was
And
hearing.
good catch light too.
Yeah.
This was on that same trip to Chicago, and I just liked the shadows. But I wondered, you know, if it might be better to remove the front, what do you call girders? photos, and then just take those off and leave it if anybody has any ideas. But, anyway, I just like the shadows and the perspective of that. One of the things I did this summer, since I like to take children's photos, is I went over to Hessel Park and would, just try to take a lot of photos of kids. And this little girl was just mesmerized by the water coming out of the little chute there. And, kids at that age are just fixated, and a lot of times in these situations. So I kind of debated whether to leave that shadow on the left, leave it in or leave it out. But anyway, I enjoyed watching her.
Was that in regard with, I didn't hear.
Pardon me?
Where was that?
Hessel Park. This one, I wait every year for my hibiscus bush to bloom because I just love it. And so this was the, now it's full, but that was in the beginning. And so I actually started trying to use Lightroom for the first time, and so I just went to the automatic setting and just followed that, and that's what turned out. But I just love that flower.
You might put a vignette around it.
I wondered when to do vignettes,
In some competitions, you can't have vignettes, but some of ours are called open, and then I can tell you how to get to the vignette. Yeah.
Okay.
So-
Yeah. Is it to bring more attention to the
Yeah,
flower? Okay.
and you can have a white vignette or you can have a dark vignette.
Oh, I see.
That one would probably be better with a dark vignette.
A dark one. Yeah, something I'll look at.
I like hibiscus too.
Yeah, I just.
Every year I say, I'm not gonna take any more pictures of my hibiscus.
I know.
And every year I do.
I know.
Different every year.
That's right.
Have to take
Small buds looking down blue.
Yes, yes, and they have since, now we have quite a few. This is my youngest grandchild, Louie, who is, who is a little more mobile now, but I happened to be on the floor when I took this, and actually, I wanted your opinion. There's two of these that you'll see, and I got this basic book from the library. I read that I forgot exactly what it said, but it might be a good idea to make it into a square versus if you go back to the other one. I like that one because it's a little feeder in it, but I just wondered, the other one, I did like too, so I just didn't know which one would be the better of the two photos and why, anybody has any thoughts on.
The square one, go. That one cut off his top.
His cute little,
Yeah, his little puff of, yeah.
That little,
I kind of like the little puff.
that like alfalfa, you see
Yeah.
that a little bit.
But you
I
could
like being able
you could make this square.
yeah.
Pardon me,
You could make this a square by cropping.
just cropping it from the bottom a little bit, keeping his feet in.
Well, or like you might just have his face. You could make it a square.
Uh-huh.
I'm like you, I like the feet. I think that really adds to this. And
I like the feet, the little hand on the.
yeah, that is really precious.
Yeah, and I'm like, I love that little cowlick, that's what you
Yeah.
call it, yeah. So,
In fact, on your other one, judges would take off for cutting his head. So,
yeah,
yeah.
but yet when I look at photo books, I see, like So I didn't know the rule on that, but anyway, I see what you mean on the other one, just maybe crop it a little bit, and make it square. The other one's probably, at least you can see his eyes better, but I think that.
And they have
light
the-
in his eyes.
They have the
Nice
highlights.
catch light in his eyes.
Uh-huh.
That's
Catch
what
light.
we look at first,
Yeah.
Is the eyes,
Yeah.
yeah.
in the expression.
Uh-huh.
Very
Yeah.
Oh, but the feet make it.
But the feet are so cute.
Yeah.
However, if you see the picture and you don't see the feet to begin with, you don't know.
Yeah,
That's true, that's true. Only the grandma does.
Whatever. Doesn't have a flat heel.
Now we have Rosangela, who went to Hawaii. Oh, were there any other questions? Sorry.
A plumeria. I love plumeria.
Yeah, last Thursday, my husband and I, we just arrived from a wonderful trip to Hawaii. And this, actually to the Big Island, just to the Big Island. The first day we were there, the first beach we went to, I saw this flower, and this, it was late afternoon, and I thought it was looking good. And later on I found out that this flower is the symbol of Hawaii, basically. So there is lots of decorations, you know, you can buy things for your hair.
Plus, they smell heavenly.
Yes, exactly. And there are other variations in, you know, pinkish here and there, but this one, white and yellow, is the basic.
And it's square. Yeah.
The Big Island has a wonderful botanical garden, marvelous. And then they have so many exotic flowers. In trees, they have some trees that I was just wondering, I don't know the names, but I have some pictures I'm going to find out. They are so huge. I was literally lying down on the floor and looking at them because they were so beautiful. And so this flower was from the botanical garden. Yeah, all over the island, you find wonderful beaches. There are several volcanoes in the island, and there is lots of leftover lava and the black rocks maybe. So there are some beaches that have, this was a bay actually, some bays with black rocks and things. And, but everywhere around the island, you run across wonderful sunsets or sunrise, depending on where you are in the island, you can have. Yeah. So it's, you know, you can take sunset and sunrise pictures forever, because every day is beautiful. Yeah, this is another beach, and this beach has this black, but it's pitch black. The picture doesn't show much, it's a bit bright, but the sand, it's not mud. Sometimes you look at it and say mud. No, it's very thin, crisp sand, but it's very black. And it's the beaches are all wonderful for swimming. I think your dogs would love it. And lots of big waves. The way I love to, huge waves. It's a paradise. It's very much like Brazil on the northeast, the beaches and the vegetation. Yeah, so there are beaches like this with black sand, but there are beaches with very white sand. And there was even a beach that I didn't have a chance to visit that has green sand for some reason that I really don't know. of course, it's also paradise for snorkeling. And there are some days, the east side, there's an area called Captain Cook, where it's just marvelous for snorkeling. You see so many beautiful fish. But sometimes you don't need snorkeling. You're just swimming and you see fish. This turtle was just swimming next to us, right? And so there are, sea animals are very beautiful and many.
Well, so did you have a waterproof camera?
No, I took from top.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was not under, this was from the side because she was really on top of the water. Yeah, one thing I was surprised to find in the Big Island is lots of coffee plantations. There are so many brands, so many varieties. And they all have guided tours and free coffee tasting. So you go and they have coffee here and coffee there and coffee everywhere. But the weather is perfect for coffee there, they say, because it rains a lot. And this day I was on this tour, it had just rained, and I saw these drops of water hanging in this, and then I took this picture. And the highest point in the island is called Mauna Kea, and Kea actually, Mauna Kea, and it's about 13,800 feet, something like that. And this place is one of the best places on Earth to see the stars for astronomical research. So there are several observatories and with huge telescopes, one here, one there, one there, one there. And they say that the place is ideal because of the altitude and also because of the location. It's isolated in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, so it doesn't have light pollution. So this place must be just magnificent for sky pictures of the sky and the stars. And you can be there. You can be there. It's free. You can be there 24 hours. But my husband was not too willing to drive in the dark because it's very steep. You know, it takes a long time to drive up there and down. And also the air is very clear, very thin, and the visibility is wonderful also because most of the clouds are below, are underneath. So the humidity is not there. So this is a beautiful place to visit. We don't see in this picture, but the whole, from there you see the whole Big Island, and it is clear. And the clouds don't cover everything. But yeah, it's a beautiful location to visit. Yeah. So,
Questions for the Okay, next we have Susan.
I don't have very many. This summer, I went with my daughter and my son-in-law to Smoky Mountains. And on one of the days, well, we actually did almost every day, we went through Cades Cove, which is a perimeter road around an old settlement up in the mountains. And you can stop and see, and here was just a huge, long string of these mountains. And so I think this is a 6 or 7 image panorama that I put together. So,
Boy, it looks like one picture.
Yeah,
Yeah,
good job.
and that's Cades Cove, you said.
mhm.
There we go.
I don't know why it's called Cades Cove. There's no water anywhere, but that's what it's called. This was up at Newfound Gap,
in the Smoky Mountains, which I don't know how high up it is, but it's pretty high up. On your ears start popping, you start kind of feeling weird. But this was kind of a little break in the trees, I just saw those mountains over there, and I just thought that was a nice little, composition of that. Everything's very hazy, so it's kind of hard to get a good crisp picture. I mean, it's Smoky Mountains, so I guess that's why it's called that.
Yeah.
But, so, yep, that was there. It was very bright that day too. Not the best day for pictures. Okay. And this one was taken from the balcony of our cabin. So this is the view we woke up to every single morning. Well, this morning was special with the mist and the colors and the sun hitting the mountains with the colors so beautifully. But this is probably my favorite picture from the trip. Well, I mean, it is my favorite picture from the trip. So.
Which cabins did you stay in?
Hearthside cabins, and we were at the very top of a mountain, our cabin was. And this was the view outside of my bedroom window. So this is what I woke up to every morning. It was really nice. And when I would zoom in, all of those mountains, if you zoom in close enough, there's cabins all over the place. It looks very remote, but it's not. They're just stuffed with cabins in there. So there's a nice picture of us.
I like the contrast of the warm tones of the morning sun with the cool and the shade. That's really a beautiful picture.
I'm thinking about doing that.
This is John.
Oh, this is going, well, guess what this is? This is one sunflower, and I just was sort of trying to simplify the image, and just tried to do that. Number one, you might remember Mary's shot of you see that
That one?
one sunflower, yeah, back there.
At
That's
about
the one that
11
I
o'clock,
took
yeah.
against the forest. So that was interesting, and I thought, I knew that we were shooting from there, and I used on the lens I had, I think that was the 300, I think, from there. So. And of course, it's yellow, green, and it's purple.
Pretty close.
And then, guess what, I guess the next one. Yeah, I probably should rosy up the spot a little more. This is, again, I was trying to just do a simple thing and get a couple of colors and some shapes. And this was on the same morning. The sky was just kind of horrible. It was when we had all the smoke and stuff, and so even though this was like 10:30 in the morning, there was nothing there. So I actually just did a gradient and put a little paint in, and from the top of the top of the sunflower. So that was it. And there's really just one more shot. We were driving around, and it was a real interesting day. We found this really ordinary barn, and I just took this is just straight out of the camera. No, obviously no. It was actually this barn was being painted by members of the Effingham Art Guild. They were doing sort of a plein air thing out there, and we went actually because I thought, well, we could get some of the artists with canvases and things like that, and so I was kind of in a painterly mode, and because I can't draw, I just sort of played around a little bit and got something colorful. But it was kind of a rainy day too, so people were not, they were sitting in the backs of their cars as they were painting and sketching, and so there really was nothing and they had tents set up just off the picture here, so it wasn't really anything to photograph, but it's an interesting barn, and Martha had taken one on that she just, you might have seen it in last contest that we had.
In a print
Yeah,
competition.
I think it was the same, from a different angle.
Earlier in the year.
It was the same one, but anyway, I like the colors. I can't paint, but if I could, I might do something like this.
How did you get the sky to look like?
Sky, well, it's a whole series. The ultimate thing was it's an ink outline filter, but before that I had done a solarization of the actually these are colors. It turned out, but I kind of solarized things, and the sky was just gray. And as you saw maybe in Martha's photo too, she just took it and did a black and white, was yours? But there was a lot of variety in the clouds, so that this just, that was there, it just wasn't visible. And,
Yeah, to the naked eye, you didn't
Yeah.
see any detail.
it was
in
really
the
strange,
sky at
yeah,
all.
yeah, you couldn't see, it was just a slate gray.
But when you took a
But,
photo of
but
it,
when you put it on the, you put it in Photoshop or,
I think
saw it
even
on the
before
computer.
adjusting any levels
Yeah,
or anything,
it was
You
there,
got
so.
a lot of detail in that just solid gray
It happens
sky.
sometimes.
It's amazing.
So, anyway, that was it. I spent a lot of time trying to figure out filters and playing around in Photoshop, and so this is just, this is one of the things that came out. So, that's it. Hopefully the things are improving, so we might be able to go a little farther afield and do more shooting this year. So, anyway, thank you.
You should turn it into a print for Sika.
Yeah. I'm going
Yeah,
to,
this would go in the open category.
Yeah.
Richard brought some of his photos too. I'm going to see if I can get them on the machine here.
While Martha is doing that, we have a new member,
Sure you don't.
yeah, Gorkin.
Yeah, my name is Görkem. I'm a student at UFI.
What field are you
Mechanical
Ah.
engineering.
in? Okay.
I'm kind of self-taught. My father was into it. I got some tricks from him back in the day, but never got into it until 1.5 years ago. It started as a pastime during the pandemic while I was at home all the time and trying not to go crazy. And then later I just found myself just doing more and more and more and looking for new lenses, what if I can buy or something like that. And yeah, actually one kind of famous photographer, wildlife photographer got me into this. I never met him, but I always admired his work. If you know him, Konsta is from Finland. And he has very good tracks. Really. He's on Instagram too, so yeah.
Welcome. Yeah, glad you're here.
Well,
Okay, for that.
Okay, well, I guess I took this picture to see if anybody knew what it was, because I don't.
looks like a thistle, doesn't it?
Thistle?
Thank you.
It might be teasel.
It's
Oh,
at
teasel,
Meadowbrook.
yeah.
It's
Depending
not
on
very
how long-
clear, I've thought that, but it's not very clear. But I like the white against the black background, and that's why I took it. Okay. Now this is at Meadowbrook Park. We had been down there, Llewellyn and I, walking around, and I tried to take a picture of this from the other side. About a half an hour before this, there was no color in the sky, and it didn't work. We walked around, and when I came up back, I took this picture, and I noticed we want these to be straight, but it looks like it turns off there. But I do think it's pretty straight, and And I just, it was relatively dark. You remember, Joellen? It was relatively dark, and this is the picture that came out, and I thought, wow, nice picture.
The jazz walk.
That was the night that the sun went down really late, and it was huge.
I took a whole bunch of them, as I used to do, but this is the one that I chose to bring tonight. Okay. This is a blue heron. I call them herons just to call them herons. This is at the pond close to where we live. And I use this one because I really like the head on the bird. Maybe we could have a little more color, but I think he shows up pretty well. Okay. Now, I don't know what type of flower this is. Does anybody? I just was attracted to the color.
Lupin?
Is it lupin?
I think so.
I guess I'm just attracted to the purple. I wish it was a little sharper, but I brought it because I like the color of it. Okay. And this is in our backyard. I go out there and take a lot of pictures. I just left this one in here so I'd have a few, but you know, all this down here I don't like. But I do like the flowers themselves. Okay. This picture I really like. Again, I don't know what type of flower it is.
Iris.
It is an iris.
Yeah.
And it was,
Japanese iris.
this was probably at Meadowbrook. Okay.
Dick, how did you get the stem out of focus, or, I mean, because it looks.
I don't
really-
think about the stuff like that. I just take the picture. I'm sorry, I don't mean to be as far as, but I guess I just focused more on the flower itself.
That's really nice.
Okay. And this again is these are both at Meadowbrook. And I don't know if you can go back to the one that. This one I really like the way that it comes down and then kind of hooks this way. I wish it was sharper, but still like it. Okay. What are these, raspberries?
Looks like it.
Okay. Now, this is at Meadowbrook, and I was from me to the wall away from, I was walking along, and I saw this head stick up, and he just stayed there. And I took a whole lot of pictures of him, and I wasn't going to use them because it doesn't sharpen very well. But playing with the thing kind of got blurry, and I just kind of liked the way it appeared. It stayed there for a long time. Finally, it ran off, and it was, I think it was a doe with some offspring.
Well, that's a fawn.
Huh?
That's a fawn.
Yeah, and I think there were 2 or 3, it was fawn or 2 in the group, and the doe, you know, she bounced off, and they kind of went after her. Okay.
Watching you, that's all.
That's it? Okay, thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you for bringing your photos in.
Do we want to talk a little bit about 2 weeks from tonight, the competition?
Sure, that'd be fine. We have a little time yet, so yeah, we can talk a little bit about it.
I just thought people who don't know how to size it and everything.
Okay.
And the subjects. Doors and windows is B. What is A? Boats and bridges. And the third one is fauna, including pets. I emailed Dave Stone and said, all these ones you're putting up on Facebook need to. so,
Thank you.
yeah. But anyone can call if they don't know how to size the light and stuff, right? Yeah.
So,
And Martha needs them
Um,
ahead of time,
yeah, ahead of time.
but
You want to talk about the changes, that you know, the manipulation you can do and the things that are prohibited for the two categories, and then what the open category is, you know, so people know.
Right, I was just getting a look at it here. That's not it.
there is a schedule on the website though.
Yeah, it's, I have a copy of it. It's on the calendar. But I don't know if the, photorealistic, yeah, there it is, okay, yeah. All right, so the competition has 3 categories: bridges and/or boats. So, pictures with bridges and/or boats. Doors and/or windows. And fauna, including pets. So, just like they said. Photorealistic. The bridges and boats and the fauna are photorealistic. That means that they can't look too strange. Whatever you, whatever, not like John's barn. Whatever you do to the photo, it should look as if it could be taken with a camera, as it is. If you put a new bird in or something like that, it has to be put in artfully so that it's not recognizably different from a picture that you would just take. The open category, on the other hand, can use all kinds of unusual things like star filters or twists or adding things that are obviously not there, like putting a giraffe in the middle of this room, for example. I guess that's fauna.
and just so, Borkham, so you kind of, so you kind of understand our competitions. You don't have to enter them, but we recommend that people do, because you learn a lot just from entering the competition. We get a lot of feedback from the judges, so we bring in outside photographers to come in and judge our images. So they give us scores, and then at the end, they even comment on why they scored them the way they did. So you can learn a lot just from listening, sitting here and listening to the judges, and listening to them talk to each other, kind of decide how they want to score something, or why they like something better than something else, or, you learn a lot just by listening. So even if you don't enter images, you can learn a lot just from what the judges say on the other images that's entered. So again, it's something that you can just come and watch, or if you do want to enter something, you're welcome to do that as a member.
When is it deadline? September 13th?
But we have to have them entered, we have to email your images to Martha, to Champaign County Camera Club by
Well, by.
Saturday, I think.
Yeah, the Saturday morning.
Saturday morning before, on Monday.
And
That would be September 11th.
September 11th?
Yeah.
And if you go to this this is our website, and if you go to calendar up on the top, you can click on September and then the date, and it has the categories that we talked about. 3 images per category, a total of 6 total images.
But is there somewhere that tells you how to label them after you reduce them?
No.
No, Okay. well,
We need a social media chair who could put that information on the web, but we don't have one.
But it is in our competition guidelines.
Yeah, so our,
So under competition,
Yeah, in the guidelines, I think it
Enter.
says.
club,
I think it's on the members only page, isn't it? That's just all the images, yes, on members only.
Oh, I thought one of those.
Oh, no, you're right.
Competition guidelines within CCCC, round about page 3 or so. Projected image preparation,
yeah,
you're right there. And it says that the size of the image should be 1400 pixels horizontal and 1050 vertical. But it's as close to those measurements as possible without going over. So a square image is going to be 1050 pixels by 1050 pixels,
Well, it could, yeah, you're right.
right? It can't be any bigger because the up-down proportion is no bigger than 1050 pixels. And you can see that if you find a sizing thing on your program that came with your camera, or on your, if you have something like Photoshop or post-processing program, it shows you how to do that, or it lets you do that sizing. Now, if you don't know at all how to do this, if you're a new member, then perhaps you've been assigned a mentor who could help you in person. But I will be sending you also my name and email and telephone number. And so you can also contact me. Now, I don't live in town, but usually I can help over the phone how to size your images. And if you can't do it this first time around, then you can send them to me and say, I can't do this, please do it for me. And I will, no problem.
Do the pictures have to be taken between today and the date of the contest?
No,
It can be from any time.
it's just if you have not, what we've been saying in the past is that in regular competitions, of which we have 3 every year, if something has gotten honors or a place in a previous competition, you can't enter it again. But it's the honor system. Because we're not gonna look back and see if you did that. But,
Martha, but if you had, let's say one is ineligible because it did place in digital, would that make it ineligible for print?
No.
Okay, that's what I thought. Print, you could use that same image again, and it would be ineligible for it.
yeah, in a different competition.
Yeah.
But that's another thing, you don't want to put a digital image in the same as a print image that you're putting into one
The same
competition, into the same competition, which would only happen if it was a salon. Because our regular competitions are separate. Digitals are separate from the prints.
And in
I
the
don't think
regional-
we've talked about the salons and all of that, or gone through the whole schedule either, but.
well, there's a regional salon for all new people that, this year, we take turns with the different camera clubs in eastern Iowa and central Illinois hosting it. This year, it's gonna be at the Nature Center near Decatur, and, which is one of my favorite venues to have, because usually it's something like this, which is like this library room that is not that photogenic, but, that rule that you just talked about is not true of SICA. If you won something in a print, you can't enter it as a digital or vice versa. But in our club,
In our club ones, you can do that.
So when people are talking about the salon is kind of a special competition for, we have a salon just among ourselves here. And what you try to do is pick, your best images from the year, and you enter them in various categories. So we have a print and digital at the same time on the salon. It's kind of a special day, usually. So, and that's usually sort of toward the end of the year. And this year, is it going to be toward the end of our
we don't.
club year?
We don't know yet. It was COVID, we're not sure we can.
It was on the schedule tentatively, I guess.
Yeah,
but I
it was on the
forgot
schedule
when.
for the end of, like in December. We thought. We
Oh,
like,
December, okay.
But
This
even
year's
then,
gonna
it
be
wouldn't be an
virtual.
annual salon. It's just gonna be like a print salon, because we
Right.
only get the room for 2 hours.
Oh, all the time, oh, that's.
Yeah,
that's
until COVID
hard.
goes away, I think that's the way it's gonna be for a while.
Yeah, we're not gonna try to have an end of the year salon. But we will try to have something like a salon, perhaps, as a print competition.
I see.
So we'll bring in prints and celebrate.
Yeah,
Okay.
that will be one of our bigger limitations this year that we have for meeting in person and competitions is the time constraint. That's why we're going to have to start the meetings promptly at 6:30 this year. We're encouraging you, if you want to show up, we open the room at 6, and that's for us to set up. But you're encouraged to get here and socialize before that, and then we can sit down at 6:30, have our speaker, or have our competition or whatever, so.
When we have a competition, we have quite a few images to be judged, and we have to go through them usually at least more than once, sometimes more than twice. So,
So
not
would
all
it be a
of
good
them.
idea on the 2 weeks from tonight to start at 6:20 instead or something?
Well, the problem is, we just don't know if we can get ready, set up in time.
Oh,
So you could come at 6:20, it's just that.
Yeah, you can come at 6:20, it's just that we're gonna, yeah, we have to have the judges all lined up and get all the equipment set up, and we just might take.
We'll be setting up at 6, but it depends on how quick we can get
Yeah.
set up.
And if we don't use Zoom, we might be able to get it done quicker.
Right.
I think so.
Mhm.
And we've limited the number of entries too, so
That's good.
Right.
we should be able to.
right, I think it's 3.
3 per category per person, or and 6
it's all together.
6 images total per person.
So you can distribute
Maybe
those
7.
between,
What's that?
6 all
I thought
together.
it was 7 total, but maybe it's
Yeah,
6.
six
So
on
we
the
was
side.
6.
7, yeah.
Anyway, you'll be getting an information sheet from me about the competition, just to review all of those things. Not in total detail, but if you've been in question, please contact me, and I'll try to make things clear to you and help you out with getting them mailed to me. They have to come to me by email or some strange thing. You used to be able to bring them in,
On a
but
thumb drive.
because we have such a limited amount of time, and out of respect for the judges, we need to have everything set up and ready to judge.
Yeah, that's the reason we went to the email and the images this year, is just, again, because we're time constrained. That way, ahead of time, they can be on the laptop, ready to project, we can have the competition software ready to go. When it's 6:30, we can start judging and make sure we're done by 8.
I would say that or something else, change the name.
It's not ideal by any means, but at least we're able to have our room, and we're able to have our in-person meetings and speakers and competition, so it's a part win anyway.
And you are welcome to participate even from now, on September 13th. The 2 of you that are new, you're welcome to participate.
Do they have competition numbers?
Not yet.
I don't think so, but when they pay Jim, they'll get a competition number, and I'll get that number. But this mysterious competition number is that we don't know the name of whose picture it is.
So it keeps it anonymous, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, your name will be displayed on the image on the agenda. On the screen.
You memorize the number.
No.
And we've got our judges already for the one.
Yeah.
Yeah, who's our judges?
John Dixon, who has done Best in Show previously, as former head of photography for News Gazette, now retired. He was, I think he preceded Daryl Home. Brad LePayne, who is a retired fireman, by the way, and is probably best known for his panoramic photos, especially of the chief and the stadium and Assembly Hall, but he's done photos with the Cubs up in Wrigley Field the first night game up there. And he's got a lot of photos around town, especially in bars and wherever.
Yeah,
So,
you see those big panorama
John
shots.
Brad and Scott Paisley. Scott Paisley's professional photographer, has done a lot. He's especially known for his sports car photography. So he's done a lot of races.
Yeah, we're really fortunate being here in Champaign area where we can get really good judges. And you may not agree with them, but it's nice to hear their opinions. And if you're not sure why your photo was shot a certain way, hopefully afterwards, maybe out in the hall or something, if they chase us out of the room, that maybe you would be able to catch them and talk to them personally. But they do make a lot of comments as they go along about why they choose or don't choose a certain photo. So it's very interesting. Anything else, ladies and gentlemen?
Yeah. Just a couple final remarks. I was glad everybody was able to show up tonight. Encourage any other photographer friends you know to come in and join up. We try to make the $20 they spend well spent. We believe they can get a lot of value for that money, considering the education and camaraderie we have between our photographers. And we look forward to having a great year. And on a final note, we all need to keep the southern Louisiana area in our thoughts. They took a pretty hard hit yesterday and today from the hurricane, so let's try to keep them in their thoughts.
Yeah, there were two doctors on the news tonight who were, I mean, it was a husband and wife. They had to take their kids to Atlanta and come back, and the roof blew off of their hospital, and they had all these kids with COVID. They were having hand pumped because there was no electricity. I mean, it's just a double whammy.
There were some people that had no choice but to write it out in their homes, and they were posting live video, and man, I chased storms a lot, and it was frightening even for me to imagine going through that.
One thing I do know is there are quite a few linemen down there.
Oh yeah, they had fleets, just fleets and fleets of, oh yeah, they were staged, ready to go. They did that right. And, but they've got a challenge ahead of them because the main transmission line that feeds all the power into New Orleans is in the Mississippi River right now. And not only the lines, it's the tower. It brought all the towers down. And they don't rebuild those in just a matter of a day or two. Those take quite a while to rebuild.
Yeah, they said the power would be off for 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Can you imagine in the heat?
Oh, yeah. Well, we look forward to seeing everybody next meeting and seeing your images.
And if you want to help out in any way, we've got a lot of opportunities to help out with the club. There's a sheet on the table over there that gives you some opportunities. If anybody